Most train stations have pigeons, you know the ones, bobbing around, eating crumbs off the floor, getting in everyone's way, being thoroughly unimpressive. Buzau, Romania, had something slightly different. Something considerably larger had moved in. For nearly 20 years, this giant freaking vulture lived at Buzau train station like a local celebrity. He ate from people's hands, he greeted passengers, kids loved him, adults loved him, everybody loved him. His name was Ilie, and this is his story. The year is 1924. Somewhere in the Carpathian mountains, someone, and history is a little fuzzy on who exactly, catches a young bearded vulture. Now, if you've never seen a bearded vulture, picture the most dramatic bird you can imagine. Nearly a meter tall, massive hooked beak, pale orange chest, which, by the way, they dye themselves by rolling in iron-rich mud because they apparently decided being a giant vulture wasn't impressive enough already. Charming animal. Anyway, this particular young vulture ends up in Buzau. Some accounts suggest he was initially sold as a very large, very unusual turkey, which, in fairness, is a mistake anyone could make. But here's what matters. The people of Buzau took one look at this enormous, slightly terrifying, absolutely magnificent bird and decided he was one of them. They named him Ilie, and Ilie, for his part, took one look at Buzau train station and decided this was his kingdom. For the next 2 decades, Ilie ruled Buzau station with the quiet confidence of someone who has never once doubted their right to be exactly where they are. Every day, Ilie patrolled the platforms, not in a guard kind of way, more in a "I live here and I'm letting you visit" kind of way. Travelers who had never been to Buzau would step off the train, see an absolutely massive bearded vulture strolling the platform, and have what I can only describe as a spiritual experience. But for the people of Buzau, Ilie was just Ilie, completely normal, beloved, a neighbor. He ate from people's hands. Let that sink in. A bearded vulture, a bird that, in the wild, drops bones from 150 meters in the air to crack them open, eating out of a grandmother's palm at a train station in Romania. That's not a pet, that's a miracle. He had regulars, people who came to the station not to catch a train, but specifically to see Ilie and bring him food. He was, in every meaningful sense of the word, a tourist attraction. Ilie had better PR than most politicians. He showed up every day, didn't take any bribes, and was genuinely nice to people. He was basically unbeatable. For nearly 20 years, this was just life in Buzau. Wake up, have breakfast, go greet the giant vulture at the train station. Perfectly normal. Now, here's where Ilie's story gets interesting. Buzau is not a city that has had an easy time of things. Over the centuries, it has been invaded, burned, flooded, and devastated by earthquakes, sometimes several of these things at once. It is a city that has had to rebuild itself from scratch repeatedly, which is why its official symbol on its coat of arms is a phoenix, rising from ashes, reborn after destruction, starting over again and again without giving up. That's Buzau. The city that built its entire identity around a mythical bird of rebirth accidentally grew its own real-life bird legend in the train station. Eating sandwiches from commuters, the phoenix rises from flames in a blaze of glory. Ilie rose from a tray of leftovers and waddled majestically toward platform 2. Not the same thing, but arguably more impressive because it actually happened, and Ilie's fame spread. People came from surrounding towns to see him. Photographs were taken, stories were told. Some say his image even inspired a local beer brand, Vulture, which, if true, makes Ilie the only vulture in recorded history to have his own label. Ilie was in every way the soul of Buzau station, not a mascot in the cheap logo on a t-shirt sense. A genuine, living, breathing community fixture, the kind you don't realize you needed until you have one. And things continued this way for years, peacefully, happily, absurdly, wonderfully. Then it was 1939, and then it was 1941, and then the war came to Buzau. World War II arrived in Romania the way it arrived everywhere, badly and without asking permission. German forces were present in and around Buzau. The station, Ilie's station, became a military waypoint, and Ilie, who had spent 20 years being greeted warmly by every person who walked through those doors, now found himself among strangers who did not know him, did not know what he meant, did not know who he was. In 1942, a German soldier shot him. We don't know if it was sport. We don't know if he was frightened. We don't know if he simply didn't understand what he was looking at. We just know that one morning, Ilie was alive, and then he wasn't. The people of Buzau were furious, not just sad, furious. Some accounts say it nearly caused a riot, and honestly, that reaction tells you everything you need to know about what Ilie meant to this city. He wasn't just a bird they liked, He was theirs. He was part of the fabric of the place. He was the thing that made their station different from every other station in the world. And he was gone in a moment by someone who had no idea what they had just destroyed. Buzau didn't forget Ilie. Of course it didn't. There is a statue and a plaque at the station. There is a street named after him, Strada Vulturului. There is a beer brand carrying his silhouette. And there are Romanians right now who will tell you his story with a smile and a slight catch in their voice, because it is the kind of story that does that to you. Think about what that means. A city already defined by its ability to rise from destructions, and a city whose entire symbol is the phoenix also produced a real, living legend. A giant bird who asked for nothing, gave nothing but his company, and became irreplaceable. The phoenix is supposed to come back. Ilie didn't get to. But Buzau remembered him anyway. And in a way, in all the ways that actually count, he's still there. Every time someone walks past that street sign, every time someone orders a vulture roll, every time someone tells this story to someone who's never heard it. Proof that sometimes history's best characters have feathers. If you want more ridiculous true history, and frankly, why wouldn't you, hit subscribe and drop a story in the comments. There are a lot more legends like Ilie out there. Let's find them together.